I see a record-breaking amount of clothes in here that's been in the corner of the closet for 20 or 30 years that no one around here has pulled out of their closet in a long time. My trainer this morning showed up in a leather jacket that he wore in an Atlanta nightclub 25 years ago because South Florida people are so unaccustomed to, what do you mean it's 35 degrees?
Wait a second. He trained you in a leather
yes,
jacket?
and jeans. Yes, he showed up like you would for a club on a Friday night.
What, is he Blade?
His wife asked him, "Hey, don't you have sweatpants?" And he's like, "Sweatpants ain't doing it today, honey. So it can't be cold down there. I've got to wear jeans." The rest of you, though, Chris Cody's wearing a Bob Saget sweatshirt.
I had to go deep into the closet for this one.
How did you guys experience this morning? My dog didn't want any help with sweaters, blankets, nothing. Didn't know what to do with what it is that this weather is.
I didn't want to get out of the shower. Like, I made the shower extra hot this morning, and I just stood there for a good 10 minutes after I got done washing. I didn't want to get out.
Quite the visual.
How are we so bad at this? How is it that nobody here is equipped in any way to deal, like the rest of the country? They're in New York right now, the temperatures are not humane. Like, you cannot be outside. So that's not what's happening here. It's just 35 degrees.
I was on ESPN yesterday, and I spent a good portion of the start of the show talking about how cold it is here in Miami. Everyone must have thought I was an asshole.
There was a little bit of frost on the car today when I turned it on. A little bit of frost.
I think the rest of the country would be listening to this and mortified by us, by how soft we are. But everyone came in here this morning complaining about some form of the animals are not safe. We're not safe. What is this? How do people live in this? As if all of us were the sleigh dogs in the Iditarod.
I woke up with 2 sweaters on, and my dog's just chilling. I don't get it.
Well,
are they cold? They just can't explain it?
Well, and here's the problem. Here's the problem with us here in South Florida. Like, I wake up, I don't want to get out from under the covers because it's freezing in my house, and like the tiles are freezing when I step on it, and it's because we refuse to turn on the heat. And why do we refuse to turn on the heat? Because the smell. When you turn on the heater, you get the smell.
It smells like that only because you haven't used it in a long time,
I know.
Right? But that is the only like heaters all over cold weather cities don't smell like that if you're using them every day.
Right. I refuse to use it because of the smell.
That smell is just dust burning off of the coils from how long you haven't used it.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Is that smell from the heater just dust from the coils because it's been so long that you used it in Miami? Because I think Tony's got that right, but I haven't lived anywhere else, and I don't know what the amount of time is if you don't use it for a month, 6 weeks, or in my case, didn't even know I had a heater. Like, legitimately did not know if I had a heater in my apartment because I've never used it. I'm not even making that up. I'm serious to you. So what it smelled like is, wait a minute, we've got a heater? We've got a heater in our house.
Football is back, Jack. Oh my, we've waited for so long. We're so damn excited that we put it in a song. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. Keep your fantasy team from falling off the track. Football is back, Jack. Whether on the ground or through the air. When the chips are down and you throw a prayer. When your team is primed and on the hunt, it's 4th and 10, you refuse to punt. When the shoulder pads and helmets crack, that's how you know that football is back, Jack. Let me hear you say, football is back, Jack. This high is wild and out of control. And we're gonna ride it every week till we reach the Super Bowl. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Football is back, Jack. Football is back, Jack.
Oh, yeah, it's Super Bowl week. That's something that will get started a little stronger later in the week. I don't think you're going to feel it very much around here or very much around the Super Bowl this week.
Why didn't we go to Radio Row?
It's far.
I never want to go to Radio Row. We went one time to Las Vegas, but
We had fun, Dan.
yeah, we did have fun, but it cost us $500,000, and I don't really want to do that again.
You take half. Okay, you pay me and Zaz. Me and Zaz will go. We'll have fun over radio, and we'll put it back.
We'll start Super Bowl week in the customary place, which is talking about a boxing match over the weekend. And the thing that I wanted to ask all of you is, because boxing is a pretty historic sport, I'm guessing you guys have been familiar and watched boxing for a good amount of time. Have you ever seen someone step into the ring that you would accuse of wearing a toupee? Is it something that you've ever seen in all your time watching boxing where you're like, oh, that fighter there, that hair is not real? Is that something you've ever seen? A guy with fake hair in the boxing ring at Le Batard Show, put it on the poll. Have you ever seen a boxer in the ring that you suspected of wearing a toupee? Because over the weekend, somebody got their hair system punched off. Now, I don't know if this person won or lost the fight. Do you guys know? Jarrell Miller is his name. His nickname is Big Baby. Do you know if he won the fight or not?
He won by split decision. Hair lost, though. Who cares?
Okay, so we see there this video, which is amazing, and I want to get to his sound after the fight because the excuse is also amazing. The excuse for how it is and why it is he lost his hair, how long ago he lost his hair.
Why'd he punch his hair instead of his face?
Well, he's trying to punch his face, and sometimes it's hard to box. I know that you have a lot of expertise in the skills of boxing. Heavyweight fighting is awfully hard, awfully dangerous, but I'm serious when I say I've never seen a boxer that I would say, oh, that guy's got fake hair. Like, I've been watching boxing a long time, and it's not, and I'm not sure I would have known this guy had fake hair if not for the fact that he got punched off.
If you're him, you got to know, hey, there's a chance that if they hit me hard enough, my hair might fly off like a can.
Well, I think if you do think there's a chance of that, you will not do it. Like, I don't believe he thought there was a chance, because how many times have you seen that happen? Like, I don't believe this man stepped into the ring thinking that this was a possibility, that at the beginning of Super Bowl week, this is what we'd be talking about without knowing whether he won or lost the fight. But let's get his explanation, because his explanation is great. Listen to his explanation. It's so much better than Paul George's explanation for his embarrassment. It is an excellent explanation that I absolutely believe.
So it's so funny, right? I get to my mama's house, and she had some shampoo bottles under her table. And I shampooed it. Yo, the shit was like ammonium bleach. I literally lost my hair like 2 days ago. So I called my man. I said, give me the man. Let me slap that shit on real quick. Abiza knocked that shit off.
He knocked that shit off.
So he had forewarning, Dan. He knew, hey, there's a possibility that something might happen here if he hits me hard enough, and then plow.
I don't think he had forewarning. Again, I don't think that you can wash your hair with ammonia bleach. I do think it's an innocent mistake to see that your mom decided to hide some ammonia bleach in the shampoo bottles, and you thought it was shampoo, and now your hair is falling
I love how
off.
after the hair was off his head, it got a ringside seat, and the fight was continuing, and the hair was sitting ringside watching.
The hair looks like a big cookie.
Mike, you are an expert in these matters. You're always accusing people of fake teeth, of hair systems, of all sorts of Botox. You're our cosmetics expert. Have you ever seen a boxer walk into a ring with a toupee?
Can't say that I have. Can't say I've ever seen anything like that, Dan. Guy's hair system got knocked off by a punch. Give me all the examples.
I want you guys to look at the video behind Tony and Mike here, because you will see that as soon as his hair gets punched off, he tries to punch off the hair of his opponent who doesn't have hair. Like, he tries to do the same thing. He's like, I'm not going to be the only one out here without hair.
That's what I'm saying.
And then he realizes, well, that guy already doesn't have hair. You really need to go bald in that circumstance, don't you? You need to not put in the hair system. You need to admit your mistake. I did the ammonia bleach thing. I'm sorry, but I wonder if he had, like, splotching or something.
You're falling for that? The ammonia bleach shampoo,
I am.
like, yeah. I had a full head of hair until 2 days ago. Like, trust me.
Look, I've told you this. When the lie is so outrageous, that the details can't be believed, I tend to believe it. I told you the story of Edwin Pope, who got so drunk out in Indianapolis one time that he stepped outside of the hotel, asked the taxi driver to take him to his hotel, and the taxi driver said, "Sir, you're standing in front of your hotel." He goes upstairs, he falls down, he hits himself on the corner of a bureau and cuts himself. But his wife doesn't know that he drinks on the road. So when he comes home, what does he tell her? He tells her, "I came out of the elevator and I got hit by a forklift." And she believed it. Because
Don't believe this one. Are we to believe the bleach just affected the follicles? None of the surrounding skin. It just burned off the hair.
No, I think that he had a splotch problem. I think that that's the reason that he went with the hair system. But put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Which do you believe more? That Paul George was suspended for mental health medication, or that the boxer lost his hair with some bleach in a shampoo bottle? Which do you believe more?
Tony nailed it with it looks like a can being opened.
Like the lid of a can, you know how you kind of like leave it halfway open? It's like, oh.
One of the, look.
Like you could cut yourself on that.
Let me, if I may chronicle this even more than we already have. The way that it happened is the funniest way it could have happened, because if it had simply dislodged and not opened like a can opener, if it had simply flown off and ended up in the ring, it wouldn't be as funny as it flapping in the wind. Okay. Like it
I must admit, sponges are tough for me to spot. It's a Two Americas thing. I remember when Steve Harvey had his grand reveal. I was like, "You fooled me. I didn't know that that was possible." But then I directly pointed my attention to Jamie Foxx. I'm like, I'm all over that one.
Yeah, that was
Oh, so this is something that you don't have expertise in.
It's more difficult. Two Americas.
Shams is reporting the latest on Giannis Antetokounmpo. He says that over the weekend, the Bucks remain engaged in teams making aggressive offers and have also submitted counteroffers. He's ready for his exit, whether it's at the deadline or the offseason. The most active suitors are Miami, Minnesota, Golden State, and New York has also emerged as a serious suitor. And the big thing to monitor over the next 3 days is if a team emerges that matches the price point that Milwaukee has set, and that his indications are that they want a young blue-chip talent or a surplus of draft picks. So the Golden State Warriors don't really have a young blue-chip talent, right? Kuminga doesn't have any value there. So according to Dunleavy himself, who said if you're going to demand a trade, there has to be demand somewhere. So
this is why, like, I don't understand. You got people all over television and radio. They're talking about, they're hyping up this Golden State offer because, yes, they have 4 draft picks that they can offer, and they're going to give up Kuminga. Like, they sat Kuminga 17 consecutive games. Steve Kerr, a champion coach, decided this player is not worth a single minute on my team, and that's the centerpiece of your trade? How it's a pathetic offer.
It's bad GMing, too. Like, if you're Dunleavy and you know there's no demand for your guy, you still can't say there's no demand for your guy because it nukes what's going on.
You're right, but also...
it was a message sent. I get it.
You're right, but also the Heat are quite guilty of that lately, too.
I was going to say that,
Well,
too.
let's talk about that for a second. So the situation that you have with the Heat is that Khalil Ware has been ransacked by Eric Spoelstra in a way that's publicly odd for this organization. Spo rarely does stuff like this, and he even kind of walked it back the last time he did it when he hammered, Khalil Ware for a lack of professionalism because he doesn't produce the same effort when he's not starting.
Khalil, no. This is like the 3rd time he's done this, and it's always Ware. So maybe we should stop being surprised.
But he would be the centerpiece of whatever it is that you're trading for Giannis, would he not? Like, if you're the Bucks,
or Tyler.
No, see, that's a bad contract.
I think both.
No, young blue chip prospect is Ware.
I don't think Tyler's a bad contract.
He's from Milwaukee.
Literally expiring next year.
He's from Milwaukee.
It's okay. The expiring part is something that gives it more value.
It's market value. I think it's fair for a former All-Star.
Okay, but you need to do better than that if you're taking back money on Giannis.
Well, they are, but he's for the region and the fact that he's still in the prime of his career. It's not a bad contract. I wouldn't do that, but it's a part of the deal, not the singular part of the deal.
There's not a bad contract that the Heat would be offering.
Correct.
Period. There's not one that's immovable or not expiring.
I don't think they
this
have any
summer.
bad contracts.
There are
on
no
this
bad
team.
contracts on
Except
this team.
next year, Bam making 50.
Because you're making all expiring contracts good contracts, right?
Well, if Tyler Hero and Andrew Wiggins are on expiring deals, they're valuable to get you a first-round pick based off the market. Like that's what everyone's talking about with Wiggins right now, and he still has a player option at $30 million for next year. The biggest reason you haven't seen that explored, more likely than not, is because the Heat are waiting to see, do the Bucks want Wiggins as a part of that deal? And as we were talking about last week, like you could combine Tyler Hero and Andrew Wiggins to fill out that salary and potentially be pieces that the Bucks could move next season if they wanted. They have Terry Rozier as an expiring deal right now. Tyler Hero is not a net negative. He's not a centerpiece prospect to build around only because he's about to turn 26, but that's a former all-star guard at $30 million.
Adam Silver, I don't even dare you. I double dare
You already did this.
Okay.
I've already seen this. Like, you got to do better than this. I've already heard you.
Adam Silver, I triple dog dare you. I haven't done that.
Yeah, he hasn't done that.
I haven't done that.
Dan, triple dog.
You finished the thought. You still haven't told the people what
Adam
you're repeating.
Silver, I triple dog. I dared you. I double dared you. I triple dog dare you to void a deal that the Miami Heat trade away Terry Rozier's expiring contract. I triple dog dare you, Adam Silver.
So let me walk back what I said a little bit on Tyler Hero and that contract. Okay, if all expiring contracts are good, then I will concede to you that the Andrew Wiggins contract isn't, for example, bad in the context of what it is that we're doing here, which is you have to make the salaries match. But Milwaukee doesn't want Andrew Wiggins. They want young pieces. They want, so Tyler Hero is young. He was an all-star last year. He's hurt way too much, and you've got to get the money to match up, and it's going to be hard to get the money to match up. But if I'm Milwaukee, and this is the piece I have, I understand why you guys look at it from the Miami perspective, but if I'm Milwaukee and this is the piece that I have, everything I'm getting back has to have value and more value than just it's an expiring contract. Now, Tyler Hero, you can make the arguments on behalf of Tyler Hero, but I'm here to tell you that Tyler Hero for Giannis isn't enough.
Obviously.
That's not going to be the best offer. No, but I'm saying, you're sitting here saying, oh, take the Rozier contract, take the Wiggins contract, take the Tyler Hero contract. And I'm telling you that if they're going to pay that much money for a contract, maybe it'll be for an expiring contract, but my guess is that they'll want somebody better than that.
Well, those are just the parts to make the money work, Dan. The pieces that you would theoretically be building around as the centerpiece of these deals are the 2 available picks that the Heat have, a couple of pick swaps, and they can get to a third if they simply get Milwaukee to shift the protections from the 2027 pick to 2028. So
Charlotte.
now you would have, oh, sorry, I appreciate that. Charlotte. It would be a 2026, a 2030, a 2032. Those would go right to them. That's without doing anything else other than calling up Charlotte. Plus, there's Khalil Ware. There's Jaime Jaquez Jr., a 24-year-old Six-Man of the Year candidate. There are several other young pieces. A first-round pick in Kasparis Jakubonis, who's a 19-year-old point guard, getting minutes. Obviously, there's Pelle Larsson, but we don't want to talk about him because he's too good and I don't want to trade him. But there are so many really good young pieces that are a piece of this.
Stop.
Look,
I
obviously.
got to stop you. I don't want to lose Pelle Larsson for Giannis Antetokounmpo. I could strangle you right now. I could strangle you.
Yeah, the way I vocally modulated didn't insinuate that I
throw
was
you
kidding
into
at all.
the ocean by your head. You turn over the entirety of your roster to Milwaukee, and you say, take who you want.
Remember when Heat fans didn't want to trade Caron Butler for Shaq?
Yes, and
That was my favorite.
Yeah, and Lamar Odom. I would love Lamar Odom and Caron Butler, and I like Brian Grant too. Brian Grant is the kind of contract that you're talking about here, where you got to make the contracts match up. So you got to throw in Brian Grant too, and people liked him, so they didn't want him to go either for Shaq.
I think you're just seizing on something that Jeremy said when he was clearly joking. I think he'd be okay with including Pelle Larsson in there.
It's every possible piece, right? And the Heat, in terms of what is available right now, we laid it out last week. Everybody has been hyping up this Golden State package because of these picks and pick swaps.
Can I tell you why? Can I tell you why I think everyone's, Jeremy, hyping up the Golden State package? I think people just want to see Giannis play with Steph.
That's right.
That's all it is. They don't have a good package. They just want. But it's a great story for us to pay attention to for Giannis to play with Steph.
And there have been reports, I believe it was Nick Friedel, that said Golden State has reassured Jimmy Butler that he is not a piece of that potential trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo, insinuating that the financial things there would be Draymond. To me, all that insinuates is the Bucks didn't like the package that was built around Jimmy Butler, and Golden State is saving face because the reports from the very beginning from everyone were, all right, they'll be willing to trade Jimmy Butler and anything else. It's everybody but Steph. And now it's, we're reassuring Jimmy he's a piece of it, which shows me the counter from Milwaukee was, well, we don't want that contract because that contract is actually difficult to move.
You're probably right.
It's only an expiring deal. It's not one that you feel you can flip for further value. That's why I mentioned Hero and Wiggins. You can flip those for further value later on if you don't want them as a piece for the future. Tyler, you could extend as you continue to rebuild. He's a 26-year-old all-star.
The backstory on some of this that presents problems for the Miami Heat is, do you do it in the next 3 days or do you do it in the offseason when you have the picks? And Milwaukee doesn't have any urgency on this, right? Miami would need to do it in the next 3 days because they want to compete this year in an Eastern Conference that's suspect, but Milwaukee's incentivized to wait for a better offer in the offseason, are they not?
Milwaukee is incentivized to wait because they can get at least one more pick if they wait until the summer. But how much does Milwaukee care about what Giannis wants in this case? How much should they care about what Giannis wants? Because two things. Number one, they could say, hey, Giannis, we want to wait until the summer because it's more beneficial for us. But Giannis would be like, yeah, I don't want to waste another year of my career. Like I want to win right now. I want to go to a team that is going to be a playoff team right now. And then the second part, which is kind of important, is Giannis is eligible in October to sign a Supermax deal. But he can only sign it if his current team has had him for 6 months. So if they trade him over the summer, he's not eligible for Supermax.
Also, the other teams in the mix would suggest that these are teams looking to seize on this very window right. now. So you're probably not going to get as good an offer from certainly not these teams that are looking to add Giannis at 32 years old for this postseason.
And on top of that, like if you're Giannis and they don't trade you at the deadline, they want something better in the offseason, do you just not play? Because it's 4 to 6 weeks, quote unquote, of his calf strain. But now it's like, all right, well, I'm not going to go out and get hurt in April, right? Like I'm done for the season. I just basically put him on the shelf.
Just so that I continue to explain what it is that I'm saying about the Tyler Hero contract, because I don't believe that Milwaukee just wants an expiring deal, and he's going to want a massive deal. A player who doesn't play defense on an expiring deal. Khalil Ware is the blue chip talent in that deal. It's not Tyler Hero, even though Tyler Hero is the all-star, because you have to pay Tyler Hero.
I don't think anybody's disagreeing.
If you want to keep him. Let's get to something here else that happened over the weekend that doesn't have to do with this, but I'm finding funny that the statue of Dwayne Wade is having some post-traumatic effects that is affecting the legacy of other players who now don't want statues at all because of how bad Dwayne Wade's statue looked. Derrick Rose was on a television show, and he was being asked whether or not he wants a statue. And Derrick Rose, I know you were objecting, Zaz, last week to the fact that Reggie Miller went on Dan Patrick and said something. What were you objecting to?
Well, yeah, Derrick Rose had his jersey retired by Chicago, which is great. I'm not going to sit here and agree or disagree with that. It's up to the team. They want to retire a jersey, okay? But then Dan Patrick asked Reggie Miller if he believes that if Derrick Rose will be in the Hall of Fame, okay, which is debatable. He's going to get in because everybody gets in, but it's certainly debatable. And, yeah, Reggie Miller said that Derrick Rose, of course he's a Hall of Famer because for a good 6 to 8 years, he was battling LeBron as the best player in the NBA. The hell are you talking about? He didn't even play for the Bulls for 8 years, first of all. And he had 3 good years, Derrick Rose. 3. The rest of his career, he was hurt. Like 6 to 8 years was battling LeBron for best player in the league. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Like Reggie Miller, he's supposed to be So is he an NBA analyst? Can you know a little something about the game?
All right, let's hear Reggie Miller first before we get to this Derrick Rose having post-traumatic Dwayne Wade statue reflexes.
I would be surprised if he doesn't. He will be the only MVP not to be in the Hall of Fame.
Man, if he didn't get hurt,
is he a first ballot? I doubt he'll be first ballot, but he'll get in at some point.
But
for a 6 to 8 year stretch, him and LeBron were battling for who was the best player in the game.
Dan, help me out here. I can't be the only I can't be the only person screaming in here about this. Can somebody agree with me?
Saz, I'm looking at his basketball reference right now, and you had mentioned it. 3 years where he was over 20 points per game, one of them being the MVP season. Let me read you the stat lines from his MVP season. 25 points a game, 7.5 assists a game, 4 rebounds a game. LeBron's is way better than that.
It's not
LeBron's worst year of his career.
It's not only better. It is legitimately flabbergasting that Derrick Rose's career has been over for as long as it's been over, and that LeBron is still getting into this year's All-Star game. Like that makes no sense if you have any appreciation whatsoever for, I don't know, mortality. Just the aging process.
Reggie, was he battling LeBron for best player in the year in the league the year that he played 39 games? Was he battling with LeBron for best player in the year in the league the year that he played 10 games? Was it the year that he averaged 15 points per game? What are you talking about?
LeBron this season is averaging 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 6.5 assists.
The Lakers are funny because they're like 10 games over 500, but they've got 16 double-digit losses, and no team with their point differential has ever been quite this good in terms of record. And they're almost 10 games over 500 with Austin Reeves and LeBron James missing 20 of the games. Don't trust them at all. They don't play any defense. You can't trust them. They lost to the Knicks yesterday, and now Brian Windhorst is saying the Knicks have no interest in aggressively pursuing Giannis because they like their current team. And as it relates to what it is we were talking about before with nobody in Miami wanting to trade Caron Butler for Shaquille O'Neal, I'm not kidding when I tell you I have talked to a number of Knicks fans who are just romantically in love with these tough Knicks. And what they say to me on Giannis is, we can't give up OG Anunoby. And I'm like, who are these people? Like, what is happening? It's multiple people who are saying this to me because they fall in love with the gritty guys who play defense and stuff, and they're like, I don't want an immortal.
You can't trade Mitchell Robinson, Dan. He only plays 19 minutes a game.
What is the matter with people? Let's get to Derrick Rose here, though. This was legitimately funny. When Derrick Rose surprised me in the middle of this when he just gave his reasoning for, I don't want a statue.
Well, you had the jersey, you had the book. The statue's next, right? Right outside of the United Center. Right outside, right where Jordan's is.
No knock D-Wade. I saw that statue. I'm good.
No, come on, man. You need a statue outside of Chicago, man. So if they say we want you to build your statue, you going to say no?
I should also mention the context of he's a religious man and he doesn't like the idea of humans being worshipped that way. So it's not just the Dwayne Wade scars, but it is also the Dwayne Wade scars.
I'm looking at it on the TV right now. Good Lord. Can we walk up to that? Can I go across the street and walk up to that right now?
It's slightly gated off, but yes, you can get pretty close
Tony's
to
top
it.
5 from the D-Wade statue this week.
Okay. I'd take it today if you wanted to do it today. But I'll ask you guys the question here. Does that statue look more like Dwayne Wade or Michael Chiklis?
Tony, that means get your ass in gear.
Reggie, was Derrick Rose battling LeBron for best player in the year in the league in his 6th year when he shot 40% from the floor? Was that one of the years?
Can you guys please get for me the video that everyone on the internet has been enjoying this week? And not just the video of the bar fight, but a video as well of the news report chronicling some of the details in what it is that happens. Zaz, have you seen this?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so listen to this because a lot of people are talking about this today, and it seems like something more likely to happen in Australia, which has more creatures that can kill you than any other place.
They're not going to be any spiders here, right?
I don't think there are going to be any spiders here.
Keep an eye. You never know.
But let's take a look here at this news report.
The man and a mate had been inside but were thrown out. One of them grabbed a chair from a restaurant next door, despite staff and customers there trying to stop him, and it's suspected he was trying to throw it at security at the front door, but instead it hit his mate in the head. He recovered reasonably quickly, got up and walked away. It's understood no one rang police or an ambulance. We'll have full details. 7 News.
So for the audio audience, okay, this is a special kind of drunkenness. When you throw a chair, put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Have you ever been so drunk that you could have thrown a chair at security that instead hit your friend in the back of the head?
Hit your mate, man.
Because he didn't come close to hitting security. Security was watching him. He seems to think, because of the amount of liquid in his system, that that he had more accuracy than he actually had. I guess, well, the accuracy wasn't terrible in that it would have, I suppose, hit security if it had not hit his mate in the back of the head.
But it's not like his mate emerged and it was like, oh, I got a clean shot at security, and then his mate walked in front. His mate is standing there the entire time.
And
he's always going to hit his mate.
And then the security guard was hysterical laughing at him.
Can you imagine being the mate there? You're talking to security. Hey, look, my friend's a good guy. My mate's a good mate, right?
We don't need to call the
He's
cops.
not a
We're
cheeky,
good
you know
here.
what? And then all of a sudden,
he's like, all right, you know what? Get him out of here.
Tony Soprano end scene.
Honestly, if I had told you that this scene was choreographed artistically by stuntmen in a movie, they couldn't have done it a lot better than this in terms of, if you're doing a comedy and you're trying to have your friend be so drunk that his judgment is impaired, but not his accuracy. He's thrown a chair. We're all in agreement that that chair would have successfully hit security if security hadn't moved or flinched, because they saw, no, this is going to hit his mate in the back of the head. There's no circumstance under which this chair is going to make our toupee fly off because it hits us in the head.
Let me go ahead and illustrate this one for you, Dan. Let's get the video back up on screen. Wow. So you could see security right here. Off screen, right over here, is the friend who's about to throw the chair. Now, this is another security guard. Obviously, this ends up being the target for the throw. So let's see this happen. Let's see it unwind.
Come on, draw it.
There
it is.
So you can see it right here, and you can see
circle.
that. And, of course, that's the guy who throws it right over there.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Let's play that back again without the helpful telestrator that always draws a penis. Look at this guy in the front of the whole situation. He's walking by. He just casually, moves to his left with a drink in his hand. Because it's the most normal thing in Australia to have all
dodging of a chair.
This guy's just walking. He's like, nope, don't
Nope,
wanna
roll
be,
back.
like, just move.
Stop right now.
The guy just moved.
Stop
his
right now,
show-
Lewis. Stop right now.
Just-
Stop right now. All right, that's perfect. Now you can see the man who was about to launch the chair.
Said chair.
This.
Right now, that guy's realizing, oh, that guy's about to throw a chair.
Yeah.
This person is seeing a chair being thrown, so he's speeding up. You could see the bend in the knee right here. Of course, you have security. You have a woman walking out of the picture.
Draw another ball.
And then, of course, this right here is the ultimate target. So go ahead and play this, and we'll see the launch of the chair. Oh, right to the back of the head. And, of course, laughter right here. A fallen patron over here. And right over there is ultimately the man who threw the chair.
Getting back to what it is that we were talking about before about Kuminga, how can the Heat with a straight face say that the Warriors' offer is no good? They're offering Kuminga, a player who hasn't played in 17 games. Here, take our blue chip talent that the coach keeps ripping and they won't start because Khalil Ware is someone you can trust, even though Spo is taking the rare measures of consistently ripping Khalil Ware. How can you make that argument with a straight face?
Yeah, it bothers me. And look, I think Eric Spoelstra's the best coach in the league. I love him. But I don't get it. It bothers me. On Saturday night, because, Dan, they played the Bulls 3 consecutive games. My God, enough of Heat Bulls. But on Saturday night, Khalil Ware played 3 minutes. And we're in the midst of a week where we are trying to offer that as the main piece for Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he can only play 3 minutes off the Heat's bench. And then Spo, after the game, was talking about game was moving too fast for him. Couldn't play. I said, whoa, hold on a second. In a league that is getting faster and faster, you're telling the Bucks that this is a guy who you can't keep on the floor in that spot? I don't understand.
It just feels like sometimes perceived value is almost better than actual value, and the perceived value of Khalil Ware is that he's this blue chip prospect. The problem is if you put him out there and he's a little bit too slow for a game that, as Jeremy said, they started a center who was 6'7". Like, yeah, the game might be a little bit too quick for him. They'll play him off the floor, and then he doesn't look like that blue chip prospect. So, like, putting him on the shelf and being like, yeah, he's great, but right now, like, we're not going to put him in. The perceived value is increased there.
He had 17 points and 6 rebounds in 18 minutes last night.
Also
like
true,
it was just a game where they started a 6'7" center, and all Chicago was doing was run. They played both big men off the floor, both Niko Jovic and Khalil Ware, just defensively had too many mistakes, and so Bam was out there anchoring the defense, and that was how the Heat kept themselves in the game. Their offense was struggling.
Put it on the poll, please. My God, enough of Heat Bulls, yes or no? I will tell you that I am not yet so used to what has been the last 10 years of incredible basketball and human evolution that you can tell me that a unicorn like Khalil Ware, who can shoot threes, block shots like that, and is uncommonly athletic, that doesn't have a place as a blue chip talent in this league. I know that the league is changing at an unbelievable rate. I know that many of you don't like watching basketball because you don't want a team going 9 for 50 from 3. It's not fun to watch when the threes aren't going in. But Khalil Ware, to my experience, is a basketball player who simply did not exist 10 years ago. Like that. Kevin Garnett is something like that, although Kevin Garnett has an actual mid-range game that Khalil Ware doesn't actually have. Khalil Ware is either the post or threes, but a 7-footer like that, you cannot convince me under any circumstances that is not a player who has value to somebody who knows how to grow players and build a culture around players that protects them. I just don't know if the Bucks feel like they have that with Doc Rivers, Miles Turner, and Kyle Kuzma.
I would think, well, first of all, Kuzma likely gets sent out in one of these trades, but Miles Turner is actually like the perfect guy as one of these first sort of freaks who was playing out on the perimeter as a 7-footer offensively. Like he's a guy who's been in an NBA Finals, has been that stretch 5, has been a great shot blocker. He's actually a really wonderful guy to bring Khalil Ware along as a veteran, and obviously they think Doc Rivers is one of the great coaches in the league if they have him as their head coach. What the Heat have is an organization that's been doing this with young big men for years and years and years. You guys forget, like 6, 7, 8 years ago, Heat fans were having the same argument about Bam Adebayo. Why isn't he on the floor? Why isn't he on the floor? Why isn't he on the floor? Why isn't he shooting threes? The Heat like to bring guys along when they feel like they can become complete products, especially when they feel like their talent.
Of a trade where we're trying to get one of the best players in the world. Like we weren't talking about this is the centerpiece.
Do you think that? And maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think a talent evaluator, a general manager, is looking at what the peaks of Khalil Ware have been thus far this season, what he literally did yesterday, and looking at one game against the play-in Bulls with 6, 7 guys.
No, it's more than one game.
I understand, but you think that a few games where he plays less than the full amount of minutes. When, by the way, Niko Jovic is a 22-year-old who they've been bringing along slowly too, also getting those minutes at center, and the best player on your team is a center.
Can I make a point for you guys that echoes what it is that Zaz is saying here? That if you want to get in the game for Giannis, to my way of thinking, when you're playing 3 games against the Bulls, because basketball can be confusing in the way I'm about to mention. Jared Allen had 16 points yesterday in the first quarter. Why? Because Evan Mobley's not playing. None of us would know how good Jalen Brunson is if he hadn't left Luka's side. Against the Bulls, run everything through Khalil Ware. I don't care if you win those games now. You have to showcase that person so that you can trick Milwaukee into thinking the opposite of whatever they think now because of what the coach is saying. Run the whole thing through him. Showcase him so that you can maximize his value. There are all sorts of players in that league. If I just give them a usage rate, you would be amazed by their statistics. Trae Young went to having no value just because everyone knows, oh, if I let him hold the ball all the time, of course he's going to go 25, 5 and whatever, and those numbers aren't going to end up meaning anything. To me, you have to showcase Khalil Ware. You have to put him on the court. You cannot, during this time, be playing him 3 minutes in games that Zaz is saying, my God, enough with Heat Bulls.
I just don't know if it's kind of like a Mad Men presentation with Pat Riley walking into Andy Ellisberg on the round table and being like, what if we trick him? I just don't think that's plausible. Like, I hear what you're saying. Let him beat up on these bad teams and pad his stats, but I think their eval is their eval.
That's fine, but their eval is being aided by the people who have the most information saying out loud about a player like they've said of no other, I don't trust him.
That's the Heat's MO, ruin their own assets over the last few seasons.
Someone told me like he'll always be fat in his head, no matter how great of shape he is. He'll always think of himself as a fat kid. I was in shape as a kid, and so I do not see myself fat at all. As a matter of fact, I think in Razzle Dazzle I look low key jacked. I think I look better than I've ever looked. My shoulders, dude, look at my shoulders.
You are jacked. Oh yeah. You got some cuts right there. You see it there?
I mean, I'm feeling good. I feel great about my body.
The new Netflix stand-up special, Razzle Dazzle.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! Bert, stop making those
Never show
faces.
your belly button.
Yes.
Do that thing where you're,
Let's increase your female viewers.
make your boobs move.
This is a body you can get.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
I thought that the best point that Jeremy made in the last hour was pointing out that the Warriors sort of flipped stance on reporting, where all of a sudden they're saying, yeah, we're going to wait Jimmy Butler out on his rehab and we're going to take care of him, being very careful not to hurt his feelings because in all likelihood, Milwaukee said, no thanks. don't want that expiring contract. And so they had to reverse course by all the reporting changing on Jimmy Butler. There were a couple of other things that I wanted to get to with you guys, though, here today. And Zaz, do you want to hear for a second a couple of the mistakes that you made in the last hour? Because I'm sorry to do this to you, but I'm not sorry to do this to you. Let's hear one of the things that Zaz said during the last hour that was a Zaz mistake.
How it's a pathetic offer.
So
I don't have a problem with that one. It's a pathetic offer.
Okay, you don't have a problem with that one? Okay.
No, that's it. That's his character. He
Yeah.
stammers sometimes.
I don't have a problem with that one.
No, that's play on.
Okay, that is play on.
Play on.
All right. What about this one?
Reggie, was Derrick Rose battling LeBron for best player in the year in the league? Let me tell you something.
Did that one like twice.
More than that. I'm going to have a hard time sleeping tonight because I don't know why I couldn't say that right. I did it several times. Reggie, was Derrick Rose battling LeBron for best player in the year in the league? How do I keep making the same mistake?
Are you talking in too many places?
How do you
Because
make
this is
battling
possible.
one syllable? Bye.
Is it possible that you're talking too much in too many places? Is that possible? That
No.
you're not, because I will tell. I texted Mike just this week, and there are a couple of places, okay, that I am feeling vulnerable. One of them is wearing headsets for 21 years. For the first time in my life over the last 2 years, I have to ask my wife to repeat herself again and again because my hearing from 21 years of doing this, or longer, really, is headphones have affected my hearing.
Me too.
But another place that I feel vulnerable is by the time I get to Friday, my stamina isn't what it used to be. Like I can feel by Fridays that I'm having some trouble speaking clearly. Do you think the fact that you're doing Zaslow 2.0 show, you're doing ESPN Radio, and you're doing this might lead, and you're older.
Also see him on the Greg Cody show, which came out this morning.
And you're older, you're talking in a lot of places. Is it possible that you're having more difficulty talking because you're getting paid more in more places for talking?
I shouldn't have any trouble on this show. This is the first thing I do of the day. I'm at my freshest for this show. I will tell you, I'm a little bit worried about it. I just turned 45 years old. I think it has to be an age thing. I do, and that bothers me. That bothers me.
You turned a 3-syllable word into a 1-syllable word.
Battling.
Bang.
Battling.
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 I don't even know what word that is.
Battling.
Battling? Is it?
You know
Am
what
I saying
battling?
battling?
Is it? You can't understand what you're saying?
Oh, was that LeBron is battling with Derrick Rose? Reggie, was Derrick Rose battling LeBron for best player in the year in the league?
He was battling.
He was battling.
Bye.
He's battling.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Can battling ever be one syllable at Le Batard Show?
Bye.
Zaslow is getting pissed off as well at reporters who don't know anything.
How could you not? How could you not? I can't. Okay, so I can't be the only one. The major drawback to this Giannis, trade scenario is I am refreshing Twitter every 5 seconds, and that's really obnoxious. Like I'll just be living my life, and then my brain says to me, check if Giannis has been traded every 5 seconds, and I have to check, and it's really obnoxious. So I can't wait until Thursday rolls around. But part of the problem is you have all these reporters out there who don't know shit. And it's so easy to tell which ones don't know anything. Like, I really believe it boils down to, because, Dan, as a journalist yourself, you and I, just a couple journalists here in this room, you could probably back me up here and attest to the idea that journalists aren't just making stuff up, But times are different now. Times are different with the way the internet is and social media, and everybody's got to be first and everybody's got to get information. You're telling me you don't believe that? So Shams comes out with the report last week that the Bucks are now aggressively listening to offers, and there's a real possibility that Giannis is going to be traded. And then after that, every other reporter starts coming out with their little tidbits, their little nuggets, their little information.
Shams always knows what he's talking about.
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Like
Yeah,
that's
I think so, yeah.
I've got to be honest here. I did not think that Woj was a replaceable creature. I did not think that there was anybody on earth who could actually do that job credibly the way that Woj did and does. I shouldn't say does anymore because he's not doing it at all. Shams does it as well as Woj did. I didn't think there was such a thing. So you're not talking about him.
No, he's the guy. He's the top guy. He definitely, he's got his information. And then everybody else starts following suit. I really believe it's everybody else. Like, I gotta show that I'm in the game somehow. Like I better have some kind of information. And you could always tell. You could tell the bullshit. Like I saw someone the other day, some other reporters, like, the Heat don't have any draft picks to offer. Well, no, yes they do. They have 2 draft picks to offer. And then there's another one. The Heat can trade their 28 first round pick and their 29. No, they actually can't. They're not allowed to. And then there's another one who was coming out and saying Giannis's hesitation with a potential trade to Miami is Pat Riley's militant style. It's like Pat Riley has nothing. Here's the thing. People don't understand. Pat Riley doesn't have anything to do with the day-to-day team. Eric Spoelstra is 1,000% in charge. Pat Riley has nothing to do with the team on a day-to-day basis. So you could just tell the reporters who are just reporters, I say in air quotes, who are just trying to get in the game.
Name names, okay? Because you're not talking about Shams, but who are you talking about?
Oh, it's even names that I don't recognize. It's just people out. It's they got 10,000.
Okay, so
20,000
it's the internet. It's not reporters. It's
it's some.
Are you follower shaming?
It's some. No, I'm saying I said that as they're like actual reporters. It's not someone who's got 200 followers. It's someone who.
But you're not naming names.
Because I don't remember I don't know these fools.
All right. Seems like you're scared.
It is Super Bowl week, and ESPN's morning radio show, Evan Cohen, is not getting up at 3 a.m. He's starting the show at 3 a.m., a 6 a.m. show along with the other people he hosts Unsportsmanlike with. They're going to be in a warehouse, and no one's going to be coming by there at that hour because who the hell's going to come by there? Who's going to come by Sports Radio Row between 3 and 7 a.m. in the morning in San Francisco?
I think
time?
Michelle has a 2 a.m. makeup call time.
I think they all must be at least up by 2 a.m. Like they have to be up by at least 2 a.m. just to prepare a full day's show. All of them, I don't know how they're sleeping this week. You'd have to go to sleep at 6 o'clock. You'd have to go to sleep at 6 o'clock at night in order to do a morning show.
Should we have someone on from that show
at
3?
Yeah.
When our show starts, what's it like? Paint the picture for us.
Yeah.
Nobody's here.
Yeah, there's not going to, they're going to be, it's 3 a.m.
There's no janitors even there.
There's not going to be anybody there. It's going to be lonelier than when Kevin Rogers saw Lincoln Kennedy. It's at the.
I was there for that.
You were?
Yeah.
Can you paint the picture for us?
No, it's just Kevin's doing his night show there. I was still there because I think we were going to go somewhere, to some party afterward.
The FHM party.
Maybe. So I was waiting for Kevin to be done,
I'm pretty sure it was the FHM party.
And Lincoln Kennedy. Hey, Lincoln Kennedy.
Well, hold on a second. You don't have to recreate it or paraphrase it. We have the sound.
Lincoln Kennedy, what's up, man? Yeah, I'm working. Where you going? You on the FHM party tonight? You going to FHM tonight? All right. I'll see you later.
All right. I'll see you later.
So, Zaz, you were somewhere just to the right of K-Rock.
Yeah, I was sitting at that table. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, but it sounds like if we can play that again, Lincoln Kennedy is saying you're not there. He's saying no one is there.
Lincoln Kennedy, what's up, man? Yeah, I'm working. Where you going? You on the FHM party tonight? You going to FHM tonight? All right. I'll see you later.
I'm sure Lincoln Kennedy was just looking at his watch wondering when's K-Rod going to get
here? They had a great night together at the FHM party. I'm sure they caught up.
I want to talk about something that happened this weekend. I don't know why it is. I would be surprised that competitive people, competition-aholics, as they age, would go to every length and measure, including possible cheating, in order to get advantages. I don't know if you saw that Paul George made 9 threes. The game, Paul George has been pretty bad for them over the course of this season. They need Maxey and Embiid to do just about everything, and Paul George hasn't given them very much, but he did have one game where he had 9 threes, and then they immediately tested him for it. And then he got in a league that is really, really soft on drug suspensions. Nobody in the NBA used to get drug suspensions back when marijuana was banned and everyone knew that everyone in the league was smoking marijuana. Kevin Durant smokes so much that he might as well smoke while he's playing. Just run up and down the court smoking while he plays because he's not bashful about that in any way. But nobody gets gonged in that sport because their drug testing system is so useless. But This weekend, Dylan Brooks was making fun of Paul George about this. He's like, talk about that on your podcast. I don't think anybody believes any excuses. I don't believe there is any way that a league, especially this league, because it suspends people so infrequently, suspends anybody, and the explanation, no matter what it is, I don't believe there is a single explanation, even if it's an honest mistake, that anyone will believe. I think that this explanation, that I'm taking mental health medicine and I didn't know what I was putting in my body, is as not believable as if he said, I got suspended for 25 games because I drank bleach out of one of my mom's shampoo bottles. But it's a great move by Paul George, because I haven't heard that one used before to garner sympathy. Is there a way for anyone who gets suspended 25 games by that league for it to be an honest mistake? And you would believe that
really
it's an
difficult.
honest mistake?
It's really difficult, Dan, especially with as progressive a league as the NBA is, as it pertains to mental health. Pretty much everything is allowed. There are some stimulants that are against the rules. However, they even give waivers provided you present the proper prescription and you just run it by the league. It's really, really difficult to get pinched for something like this in that league.
Yeah, there's one of two things happen here to Paul George and anyone who winds up getting, pinched for any of these banned substances. Either you tried to cheat and you got caught, all right, or you are incredibly foolish. And the incredibly foolish part is all you have to do is you take the bottle of the thing that you want to take and you go up to your trainer and you say, can I take this? And then he says yes or no. It's that simple.
It's just like that. It's just like that. And also, we're talking about a player that has struggled to stay on the court, that at his age, you can understand if he were to turn to something to get back on the court and have an extended run and show that he's worth the money. I mean, it doesn't go beyond the scope of imagination here.
Let's look into the past and see how many players have been popped for something outside of PEDs. So the last 25 game bans, Jody Meeks in 18 for PEDs. Wilson Chandler, PEDs, 25 games. John Collins, 25 games for PEDs, a peptide. DeAndre Ayton tested positive for a diuretic. Some say it was PEDs and they were trying to wash it through. Yeah. Bobby Portis, 25 games for a pain medicine. And then Paul George with this very...
I also got Tristan Thompson here a couple
Tristan
years
Thompson
ago.
too, but ambiguously, mental health medicine, whatever that may be.
So he didn't name the medicine, and I haven't seen this move used before by anybody. It may have been used, but one of the things that I found interesting about it, never mind the optics or the PR about it, what an amazing shift in that league and the way that league armors up on masculinity for Paul George to say openly, I'm not a cheater, I just need help with mental frailty. I need help with mental illness. What a seismic change in how it is men present as men in that league, that the second one is no longer a stigma, at least in part because of what DeMar DeRozan and Kevin Love did. This stuff was never talked about before, where I'm sure he garners at least some sympathy in some corners. I don't think everyone is saying what we are. There's nothing you can say that I will believe if the NBA gets you gone for 25 games. I think many people are saying, well, maybe, even though it seems fundamentally implausible because of what Zaz is saying. And the reason it seems fundamentally implausible is Paul George just cost himself $12 million. You've got, when the risk is that high, what Zaz is saying is so. You take your medication to your team doctors and you say, is this okay for me to use? And that's how you ingest things. But it's really a seismic shift in everything happening in that league that Paul George is willing to do the double of, no, I'm not cheating, I have that shame, but I'm going to tell all my fellow players in this league something that 10 years ago none of these guys would have admitted to, because nobody in that league wants to admit that they need help.
And I ate it all up. Yeah, Paul, you were looking for a mark. I'm your mark. I'm an empath.
I did not believe him, though. And
were you thinking of me when you came up with this excuse? You probably were. And I took the bait. Hook, line, and sinker.
I believe Jeremy took the bait. I believe that I have been scarred by Ryan Braun.
I think I still believe him.
I kind of do.
I've been scarred by Ryan Braun the way that Derrick Rose has been scarred by the Dwayne Wade statue. Ryan Braun, I did believe, because I'm like, well, he wouldn't do it that forcefully. He wouldn't stand on a field and deny it that forcefully unless nobody would lie that aggressively.
Who would lie?
No, but that aggressively. Lying is one thing. Lying with defiance and arrogance and scolding reporters and doing it calmly and confidently. Lying that well, I fell for Ryan Braun, but it's the last time I fell like that.
They won't get you again,
no,
Dano.
No, I don't.
Except for maybe this time.
No, not me.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, come on.
No.
He stole. He did that kissy face thing, and we kind of felt bad about it. Come on, let's believe him. No games. Unsuspend him. Justice for PG.
Unsuspend him. I believe Jeremy might have had a soft spot for everything Paul George was saying. I did not. I immediately thought it was public relations bullshit.
Yeah, I might be naive, but I don't know. I think if you're someone taking drugs for your mental health and you make a tweak to those because something else is going on with your mental health, you might just make that tweak before necessarily consulting with someone within your system, or maybe even did. Like, look, I could be totally misled here, and maybe as someone who takes mental health drugs myself, I'm just looking at it with a level of empathy that is too deep, because it's something that I would be really embarrassed about or upset about if it affected my ability to do my job. It's the reason I take those drugs, is so that I can get out here and perform and do my job and be stable. Maybe if he's someone on maybe he needs to take Xanax to be able to fall asleep. Maybe it's one of those types of drugs, but I don't know. I think this is something where I'm going to take the guy at his word, and if I'm proven wrong, like if this all ends up being a farce, then I could be even more upset and look at him in a light that is like really frustrated with the manipulation of our empathy.
Got another one.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Knew that snowflake would join me, and he was way stronger on the subject so people can mock him when the truth comes out. Hell yeah. What's up, Zaz?
What's up, player?
What's up, Trevor? You've ceased being me as that character. You're now doing you as you're just
No,
doing.
I'm in the dark recesses of your mind. We're good. No one can hear us, just you and me, big guy. We look good today.
Can you get me, since Jeremy's reporting is so good, Eric Reed complimenting Jeremy during the telecast yesterday?
Impressive investigating journalism for Jeremy Taché. That's a good story. Taché.
Wow,
good stuff.
That was slightly sensuous by John Crotty there.
Hey,
it was. Am I wrong?
What was your story?
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. That feels. We'll get to the investigative report of Jeremy Taché in a second. That is dangerously close. I'm going to say this, and I don't do this flippantly. I feel like the way that John Crotty said that is very close to sexual harassment.
I'd say.
Oh, I think he's saying taché.
Oh, taché.
But there's an undercurrent of I'd say.
Yeah, now that I hear it, I don't like it.
What was the investigative report, Taché?
I took a deep dive into the Twitter account, Did Pella Get Hit, which is a Twitter account that is run for every time Pella Larson gets hit in the face. And of course, Dan, on Saturday night, with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, he was hit in the face again. So I had reached out to the young person who runs this account. They're a 21-year-old Heat fan who first got into Miami Heat basketball thanks to the Dwayne Wade dunk over Anderson Varejao. They saw that highlight and said, I got to get into this sport. They also said that they would sacrifice anything for the Miami Heat to win a championship, and that the reason they run the account is because Pella is exactly the type of player who exemplifies Heat culture. When I reached out to them for any further comments they might have, they said, please tell Pella to wear a mask.
Okay.
The question I want to ask you, now that we're all, or most of us, are slightly numb to drug suspensions and cheaters, is, has there ever been, that you guys recall, an honest mistake? Like, can any of you remember a situation where a guy is cheating and we have to go back and say, hey, I'm sorry, we got it all wrong? Like, where are the mistakes that you would have, or the excuses you would have, or the explanations that you would have that end up being verified so that the league would be wrong? Because one of the other things that's in play here, right? Paul George can say what he said because the NBA is contractually, legally obligated through collective bargaining to not say anything about it. It's a totally private issue. So he can say whatever he wants, and the league isn't going to counter that. The counter is, you're suspended, $12 million is what you end up losing. But can any of you remember a circumstance where the explainer or the excuser is actually being wronged? Is there any such thing as a false positive that any of you remember?
I remember Travis Henry appealed in the NFL, and he actually won the appeal. That's the only one I could ever think of.
That's a good one, because I didn't even remember that one. The cynicism around this feels to me like it's earned just because the league does this so rarely and has to be careful about doing it, because you're taking $12 million from somebody.
Whatever happened to the Al Jazeera report with Peyton Manning's wife getting stuff, and then all of a sudden, his neck was okay, they won a Super Bowl, and then it kind of disappeared? Was he wrong there? Was he not wronged?
It was not reported as he was wronged. He was claiming that is HGH or testosterone that's being sent to my wife, allegedly, and then it just faded away.
The league apparently looked at DeAndre Ayton's and believed that there was no malicious intent there to bypass the rules. There was zero trace of any PED. But
because he had a diuretic in his system that flushed.
But that's enforced in the law. The diuretic that he tested positive for is known to help flush systems out. But that's the last that I'm seeing on that.
You guys were surprised, were you not, by the Paul George thing? Like, the way that thing ends up happening, I think everyone has the same reaction, which is, I understand that we're used to these guys cheat. These guys try to cut every corner. Nobody is actually innocent. However, when a suspension arrives, it does so as a bombshell. Like, Paul George being suspended for 25 games suddenly takes over the sports news stream. But you're not surprised by it?
No. I guess Aaron Ekblad got pinched for this, and he was a player that, I guess for his roster, was considered older, even though he's actually not an old man, but had been struggling through injuries, big price tag, wanted to be there for his team, and then found some consistent form, and then we get the positive result, and you realize, oh, maybe that's how he found it. I look at Paul George, I say that guy's body is broken by a long career. He's trying to live up to a contract. It matches the profile is what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, but I guess what I should have said, the way that I should have phrased it is, there's an initial surprise, and then what you do is you sort of go through the library of, old player, just made 9 threes, has been struggling with a great many injuries. Like, you go retroactively and you do the biography, but the initial news report to me landed like, whoa, I was surprised, but it had less to do with Paul George than it does with how infrequently that league does that.
But he's been in the league for a long time. He knows the rules. This isn't some rookie move. Yep. This is a guy that knows if you ever put anything into your body, to run it by your training staff. So it might be the bullshit, Zaz.
It's the bullshit, Dan.
Thank you. Good analysis by all of us. It's the bullshit at Le Batard Show. Put it on the poll. Is that good analysis on the Paul George situation? It's the bullshit. Because I do believe that we got a new form of bullshit at the very least. We're agreeing with that, right? That's not an excuse.
That's a fresh manure. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
A maneuver or manure?
Both.
It does. Garners sympathy from the right kind of bad faith actors that are out there in the media landscape that want it to be known that they are an empath.
Name some names. Come on.
Finally, you say it.
That woke queen, Jeremy Taché.
We're good, buddy. No one's looking at us. We keep it moving. Gus Malzahn retired?
Now, you're not doing my character anymore.
Inner dialogue.
That wasn't it. Look, the other
Inner
stuff.
dialogue.
You were thinking it.
The other stuff
What
was...
about all these recruits that were betrayed by Gus Malzahn's dog and pony show?
The inner monologue was accurate right up until you got to Gus Malzahn. I was not thinking about him, not subconsciously.
Mike hasn't
not
been that
consciously.
involved. Look at him. Toss some FSU chum at him. Give him a shot. Work him in the offense.
Haven't been thinking about Gus Malzahn in any way. Don't care about whether he stays or goes. One of the worst college coaches to ever win a championship. Can you guys get me the sound here of Rick Barnes, who is not a comedian? Rick Barnes doesn't do a whole lot of just off-the-cuff improv when critiquing his players, and he realizes here in real time, the Tennessee coach, he's been at it a long time, he realizes, oops, that's not the way I should have said any of that.
I mean, at the end of the game, some of the passes that we throw, I mean, just, I don't know what to say other than sometimes I wonder if my guys are betting on games. I shouldn't say that, but, you know, that's what erase that. I don't want to say that. But I just wonder what's happening. I mean, because I know we're too good of players to do that. Was that a bad? I apologize. I shouldn't have said that.
That is some great body language. Like all of that.
Being genuine.
Oh,
and then, crap.
he's trying to hide behind his own hand.
Not
and
covering the face.
It's not a good hiding place.
I wish I saw the SID's face.
Well, but I think you
They
did.
created the camera
I
pan
think,
over.
Mike, I think you did see the SID's face when he turned to his left and searched and then immediately started apologizing. This is a coach who's been in charge for a long time. This is a man who knows what real power is. Watch how insecure he immediately becomes with body language and everything else, and watch how quickly he looks for the life raft of a public relations director off screen.
I mean, at the end of the game, some of the passes that we throw, I mean, just, I don't know what to say other than sometimes I wonder if my guys are betting on games. I shouldn't say that, but, you know, that's what erase that. I don't want to say that. But I just wonder what's happening. I mean, because I know we're too good of players to do that. Was that a bad? I apologize. I shouldn't have said that.
SID standing there like a referee when the kick is
come
no
on!
good. He's like, no.
It's just the body language is so good because he's initially frustrated by just, oh, we're bad passers, and oh, I've made it worse, and then the nervous laughter, and then this is a position of power, and ooh, I cannot have with around point shaving scandals and FBI investigations. I cannot welcome people to wonder whether our bad passes are because my guys are betting on games.
Suspicions are a bit heightened around my sport specifically. Ooh. No one was going to be paying attention to anything he said in that presser. No one. I defy you.
That's correct.
Find the Twitter
That's
account.
correct.
It's like
That's
Rick Barnes
correct.
says effort needs to be better. You would never have heard it.
There is.
This was so avoidable.
It's not only that it's
Got Peter Burns tweeting about it.
It's not only that it's avoidable, it's that Rick Barnes, for decades now, has come in and out of press conferences without saying anything at all that anyone cares to remember. Like, he has a mastery of doing press conferences that no one remembers the echo of anything that he has said.
35 years strong, Dan. Not a word. I couldn't tell you a word he said outside of that time that he joined us on our show and opened the door to NASCAR talk.
Can you guys think of, in the hypothetical, something worse that he could have said in fiction than what it is that he said? Outside of slurs and things that would get you immediately fired, what is the thing that he could have put out there that no one was actually thinking about worse than the thing that he did put out there?
I tested positive for drug performance because of my mental health.
No.
You'd be hard-pressed to find anyone in sport that has said less over the course of 35 years than Rick Barnes.
It's real.
This is uncharacteristic.
You know what? I'm giving him a pass. He's all right in my book. No problem.
Okay, that's good. I'm sure he feels better about that today. That some guy in Miami who pulled out a Bob Saget shirt that's been in his closet for 30 years this morning because it's too cold gives him a pass for making what is an identifiably egregious mistake. An egregious mistake that I'm sitting...
Identifiably? Shit.
I didn't even notice I'd done that. That's not in my...
Stop talking to me.
As you described an egregious mistake. Identifiably egregious mistake.
That's a play on for me. Go ahead, Dan.
Thank you. I appreciate, Tony, your compassion in these moments.
I'm an empath.
So Tony's compassion, Chris's compassion for Rick Barnes, but
you're an idiot.
Empathy for
You're
Paul
a fool.
George, and
Yeah,
I'm a
you're
fool.
Toughen up.
I mean, at this point, Jeremy, I believe that everyone listening to this, no matter their level of empathy, thinks that people in sports who get caught cheating are actually cheating. Like, I don't know where it changed for you guys. I told you guys the story, right, of this. This is funny. It's a funny story because I was suspended from ESPN for a year, but no one told me. I didn't know that I was suspended for a year. And the reason I was suspended for a year is because Lance Armstrong was about to host the ESPYs. And I'm like, I don't get it. Lance Armstrong's list of things on circumstantial evidence that he's a cheater is here. And Barry Bonds' list of things that he's a cheater is here. And one of them is Barry Bonds and vilified identifiably. And the other is hosting the ESPYs as an American hero. Lance Armstrong, for me, the boldness of the lies and all of that is sort of a mark, a point where everyone can say, okay, they're all doing it now, because what he was selling us optically was that he was Captain America, right? So at this point, I'm assuming that anyone who has watched sports for even a modicum of time doesn't believe an excuse that any athlete makes if an athlete is accused of cheating. Never mind caught cheating, if it's the Astros or anything else, doesn't it stand to reason? Never mind athletes getting old and mortality and not wanting to get old. Doesn't it stand to reason that if athletes are looking in every crevice and corner for an advantage, that the pharmacy would be one of them? Like, it's just the most normal thing in the world. And I'd argue that if Paul George has been doing whatever he's been doing that made him have 9 threes in a game and look athletically, he was doing, 360 windmill dunks in practice and then got tested. Like, it happened right after that. If that works for Paul George, it's almost worth the risk and the $12 million. If it's something that actually works for an extended period of time. I don't know if he's caught immediately upon using or not. I don't know how it is that happens, but if this, it would be really bad luck, right? If the first time he's using it is immediately when he gets caught. Okay, so if it actually makes you feel better, what do you imagine Paul George would pay for a fountain, for anything that's a fountain of youth?
So you're saying maybe even though he's losing $12 million right now, maybe he's made countless amount of money because he had not been caught. If
I
we
have
don't
the count
believe
for
it's
you.
the first time.
$406 million in his career that he's made. $12 million isn't even a fraction of that.
You don't even associate that league with catching anybody on this stuff. Like they don't have that problem. Like nobody listening to this thinks that basketball has a performance enhancing drugs problem. Look, man, last week David Sampson comes on here and says that Michael Jordan, that wasn't a suspension. Michael Jordan left the sport for 2 years because of whatever was around gambling, and that is where his cynicism and his suspicion, and many people have it, will point to something like Michael Jordan. When I have said, and I have not accused LeBron James of performance-enhancing drugs, but he's an unprecedented human body. And when faced with things I've never seen before in sports, ever, I don't just shrug my shoulders and assume that people aren't using. Like, who would shock you? Let me do it another way. Is there anyone who would shock you? Because if right now, hypothetically, and I'm not saying this, but if right now, hypothetically, I said, hey, Shohei Ohtani, you'd then go back and do like, well, wait a minute. Of course, it's an unprecedented human body doing unprecedented human things. How surprised am I allowed to be?
Right. We're talking about current active players, we would be surprised?
I'm saying that if we've arrived at a place of cynicism where Mike's shrugging his shoulder, yeah, Paul George, not surprising, nothing surprising. There's nothing surprising about an athlete cheating. Who's surprising? Are we doing this just physically? Is there someone who's great who could surprise you or would surprise you? Is there anything out there that would be something that the audience would say, I can't believe it. I've had the optics of what I thought a person was have been shattered for me, forever changed. It's not the same way as it was before. That person who I thought was pure is now a cheater.
It's got to be LeBron, right? Like the longevity, just everything being it.
You
don't think it would be a massive bombshell?
It'd be a bombshell, but you wouldn't be surprised, would you?
Here we go.
Surprised.
That's the good stuff. Got other people to accuse LeBron. He's cheating, right? Unless he has a mental health issue, then I'm an ally.
With a sandwich for laughs.
So honestly thrilled to be doing this with you because I have admired your work. You are just such a sculptor. You're an artist as a comedian. It's sort of the
Why? Thank you.
Well, the craft of it. It's such a hard way to make a living, Jay. I don't even understand how you make a living that way. I really don't. You have to be demented to choose, you know what? I'm going to laugh my way to the top. I'm going to take the expectation of funny, and that's how I'm going to get rich. Get out of here. It's crazy.
It seems sort of second nature to me. You know, I think it's one of those things. If it's what you like to do, it just comes. You know, I remember when I was in college, I'm dyslexic, so I would get out of any sort of written things, and I was taking speech therapy. And I remember the professor said, now at the end of the class, each student will have to give a 20-minute talk. And people went, 20 minutes? Oh my God, I get done. I thought, I'll do it right now. I'll talk for 20 minutes. Yeah, let's do this. You know, so it just struck me as funny.
But you could be funny in an instant? You knew that this was something?
No, not funny. I had to give a 20-minute talk. I mean, I didn't have routine. I wasn't a comedian yet, but it just seemed natural. I mean, I always read that getting eaten by a shark and public speaking are the two things most people are afraid, you know, that kind of stuff.
But not you, right? Like that, you didn't need attention, right? An audience just didn't scare you, right? Even though you were dyslexic, even though...
No, it didn't scare me. You know what's interesting? A lot of people don't realize, you remember the Smothers Brothers, right?
Yes.
Well, Tommy Smothers was dyslexic, and they were folk singers, but Tommy would get the songs wrong. Michael, boat the row ashore. No, it's row the what? And they made it part of their act. And that's kind of how they became a sort of funny comedy singing team, you know?
How do you watch stand-up comics? Because I imagine you are watching not just to laugh, but to see where the comic's insecure, where the comic looks off stage or looks at his feet. I imagine.
No, not really. I watch it just to enjoy it. You know, I like comedy. I enjoy watching comedians. You have to be careful when you're a comedian because someone does a joke and then you realize you never want to be on stage and that subject comes up and your mind immediately goes to that person. So you have to be careful not to try and take somebody else's material. You know, that's sort of the biggest trick. A lot of times you don't want to watch comedians do routine on a particular subject because if you're developing something along the same line, oh, now you can't do yours because it's too close to theirs or whatever it might be. But no, I watch it. You know, it's like I like to make love, but I don't want to be a gynecologist. You know what I mean? So I enjoy it just being, you know, just being around it and being with comics. It's always fun.
You came up through the pipeline of where stand-up comedy was born, right? Like, I mean, you're almost at the roots, Jay. I mean, I don't know if it's Pryor and Carlin, but coming up through the LA comedy circuit, coming up through the comedians, when you were writing with David Letterman for J.J. Walker, right? Like coming up through the Comedy Store, can you take me through the path of what you imagined your career was going to be and how it is that you arrived? And like, I can't even imagine getting from there to the Tonight Show.
Well, I'm a huge believer in low self-esteem. I think it's the key to success. If you don't think you're the smartest person in the room, you're more likely to listen and pay attention. I mean, when I was doing the Tonight Show, I'd constantly meet people who were geniuses. People say, you know, my client is a genius, but the people at the network were afraid he'd be too good. You know, I get that all the time. Or I get comedians who audition for the Tonight Show, and they didn't quite have them. They were close, and their agent would say, you're scared because you know if my client kills, he could take your job. No, I want your client to do well. It's just that, you know, talking about Reagan's trip to Pittsburgh 30 years later, it's not really timely anymore, okay? Can you try to update the material? Oh, and then people get furious. So there's all sorts of reasons why. But I think the key is I was always happy at whatever level I was at. I mean, I used to have a day job and then be a comedian at night, and I would bank one and spend the other. And then when the comedian money got to be pretty good, I quit the other job. And I thought, oh, I'm making a living as a comedian, because it's probably a sad reflection on our society, but the worst comedian in the world still makes more than the best teacher, which seems hardly fair, but that's just the way it is. And so I always was able to make a living, and it was okay. Each year got a little better than the year before, and that was okay. You know, it's so funny. Whenever I watch these shows about, there's a couple of them on Netflix and HBO about comedians, it's a backbiting, horrible business, and everybody hates one another. And that wasn't the case at all. I mean, I got where I was thanks to Steve Martin and Johnny Carson and Harvey Korman. And consequently, when I got a little success, I brought Johnny Carson in to see Ellen DeGeneres and some other comedians as well. And you can't do every job every day. So I've always found comedians to be extremely supportive. You know, whenever one of us, by one of us, I mean Letterman or me or Seinfeld or even Robin Williams, if you watch my first Tonight Show from 1977, you hear this in the back laughing in the audience. It's Robin. Robin was sitting in the audience, kind of helping me out and giving me a little encouragement, you know. And consequently, when those guys did the Tonight Shows, we all went and would laugh it up for them, whether it's Merv Griffin or, you know, Mike Douglas or any of those shows. So it's actually quite a nice way to make a living. I mean, yes, there are horrible people in it, I suppose, but I didn't run into too many of them. I met far more nice people than bad people.
What do you regard as the happiest time in your professional life? Because I remember, I don't know how many times you appeared on Letterman. I remember a stand-up act specifically that for some reason, I don't know whether it was discovering you, I guess, but you were on stage and you did something about Mr. Universe, and you held your fingers under your chin, and you made some other interplanetary weightlifter was furious because we had decided that
I should have won.
So after the Rams-Seahawks game that was a legitimately great game between teams that are rare in that sport in that we know they're good. We knew both of those teams are good. We don't have any questions about how good they are. You can have your quibbles with Denver, with the Patriots because of the schedule they've played. But I think all of us watching Rams-Seahawks know that both of those teams are good football teams. And I was talking about imperfect measurement systems after that game because the point of the games is to get to the television dollars and get everyone paid. It's not actually to measure the best team. We all understand that part, right? That's not cynicism. The point is not to have the best measurement system.
Sure it is cynicism. You can look at it the way that most sports fans look at it, which is, I want my team to win a championship. That's what they really play for.
Right, but history will remember whoever wins the Super Bowl forever as the best team, but the Denver Broncos played 17 games to get this much of a home field advantage and then are playing without their starting quarterback and lose by 3 points. Maybe the Patriots are the better team. That game doesn't prove it. They just won because, at least in part, the Broncos didn't have their starting quarterback and the game had to be played. Correct?
You're on like a weird sports nihilist kick, though. That's the breaks in that sport. Like tons of fans will be like, our season was undone by injuries. It pacifies.
I'm not on a weird nihilist take. I'm going somewhere with this. The thing that is the accepted measurement system is always flawed, and it doesn't matter what I think. History will remember that whoever wins on Sunday, no matter how they win, was the best team, whether it was so or not. That's how we're doing it. That's accepted. The part, though, that was funny to me about something that I did with Mina and Pablo on Pablo Torre Finds Out is we were talking about whether or not you like bad weather games. And I don't like them because they make the measurement system even dumber. The second half of the football game made to decide who will play the Seahawks in the Super Bowl was stupid. Fun to watch, visually lovely, nothing to do with how we do measurements on who's better. Nothing to do with it. But people love weather games. I'm in an unpopular opinion in wanting the game to be played in a way that offers me the best measurement because what I want is who's better. That's what I want from my game. Not is the weather affecting the game, not is it raining and snowing, but it's an unpopular opinion to have. Most people want to watch bad weather games, even though it can make the football stupid.
Yeah, I love it. I kind of feel the same way about Thursday Night Football, where I like Thursday Night Football as long as my team's not playing in it. I think it's a disadvantage for the two teams that are playing, but I like my Thursday Night Football. I like the bad weather game. As long as my team's not playing in it and my team's not at the disadvantage, I like watching the snow all over the field. I dig it. I like it.
So when you accuse me of nihilism, Mike, they're playing 17 games because Sean Payton very badly wants that last one to be played in his stadium because of the advantage that it is for that defense to be playing in that stadium and making a team in the Patriots who are unbeaten on the road have to climb over them. But there's no way of making the argument that convincingly outside of the scoreboard that we got an accurate measurement of who's better when one of the teams doesn't have its starting quarterback.
Well, isn't that the bigger reason why?
And the second half is totally the second half. It's not possible for anybody to play football in.
Yeah, but they both had to play in it, and I think you should be happy with the strides the NFL has taken in moving into these new billion-dollar stadiums, that there are fewer outdoor games now. They're all getting retractable roofs. They're already talking about a retractable roof in Denver for their next spot. All these places outside of Buffalo and Lambeau are basically trying to put a dome. Even the Browns' new stadium, that's an AFC North team. They're trying to put a dome on it, and it's part of the design. Chicago, their new stadiums, wherever state they decide to put it in, that's going to have a dome. Kansas City, that you could always count on Arrowhead being a weather stadium late in the season. That's going to have a dome. So I think you're getting more your way, and I think it's going to have a cool novelty to it to actually see snow and weather impact some of these games. I'm not with you on this sport needs to name the best team because I need that. No, I just need to name a champion. And these individual battles that teams spend weeks preparing for, that's part of it.
Yeah, the weather part is so much further down the rung of the reason that the Broncos lost behind. They didn't have their quarterback. Like, if they had their quarterback, they're probably going to win in the terrible weather game, right? I mean, they lost by 3 points with Jarrett Stidham. If Bo Nix doesn't get hurt, who cares about the cold weather? They're going to score more than 7 points. It was Bo Nix being out, which is why they lost, not because of the weather.
Yeah, but you don't have to be bothered by imperfect measurement systems. I'm not even bothered by it. They're all going to be some semblance of imperfect. It's not possible to make a perfect measurement system. If I were the Broncos, though, and people were saying to me today, the Patriots are better than you, I'd be like, they are? Like, are you sure?
But we like playoffs in this country. There are perfect measurement systems. Premier League. The team that wins the Premier League over the course of an entire season filled with fixtures that are one home, one away, where every team plays every team twice, like that's a perfect measurement system. There isn't a random playoff. They name a Premier League champion at the end of the season. We like playoffs in this country. We like playoffs even in that sport in this country.
That is also not a perfect measurement system because one goal is so valuable in that sport that you end up becoming something that is very difficult in small samples to measure when it's just one goal is it's so much larger in value than everything else that's happening. That is the way there is no perfect measurement system. Actually, individual sports and team sports, I should say, because in individual sports like boxing and tennis and some other things, you're right that is a better measurement system than what it is that we're talking about.
But you're asking for a perfect measurement system in an imperfect game, right? The ball's oblong. The ball's going to bounce a weird way. Weird things happen, right? If you look back and look at...
Did you look up oblong or did you know that?
No, oblong. I knew that.
You looked it up?
No, I knew it.
You knew it right now?
I knew it right now.
I feel like maybe before when you were gathering the thought, you went on to your computer
I was looking
there
at stats.
And you looked up oblong.
I was looking at stats.
I'm not sure I believe
And I'll tell you the stats that I was looking at right now. I was thinking of the 2007 Giants. If you talk about the best team, right? 2007 Patriots were the best team. They should have won by any metric because all the metrics told you they were the best team. Yet the little Giants came out, had a win against the Bucs, had a win against the Cowboys, came out and had a super, super big win in overtime against the Packers in sub-zero temperatures in Lambeau. And if that game gets played somewhere else, maybe there's a different scenario that ends up going on. Packers go to the Super Bowl, the Patriots beat them by 40, right? Like that one play, that one weather game changed the dynamics of everything that happened, led to the Giants beating the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
That's a great example because I still maintain that the Patriots, that team is the best.
It's better.
It's not just better. It's the best I've ever seen.
Of course.
It's not just better than the Giants and everyone else that season. Better than any I've ever seen. Mina dismisses all people who love the cold weather games as virtue signalers.
Oblongly.
Virtue signalers. You guys were all complaining about the cold this morning.
Say it one more time. The laughs will come.
Virtue signalers.
Shit. Bad idea by me. Let's keep it moving.
Dan, you don't believe that he knew oblong, right?
Virtue signaler.
All right, that one's on you. I tried to talk you out of it.
I believe that oblong is how you say I belong.
Oblong.
You can make 3 syllables, 1 syllable better than just about anyone I've ever met. Did you guys watch the Grammys last night? Because I'm convinced that what we're headed toward this weekend is the Bad Bunny Bowl, also featuring football.
I watched almost the entirety of the Grammys, and
Really?
I just kind of fell asleep. Yeah, I fell asleep just before Album of the Year. And I liked it. I always like the Grammys. I like the musical performances.
Who performed?
Oh, man, the entirety of the Best New Artist category. Reba McEntire did it for the first time. There was a cool Post Malone moment.
Lauryn
there,
Hill.
too. Lauryn Hill, the first time that she played in
She
like
showed up
16
on
years.
time.
Did a nice little tribute to D'Angelo, among others. So I watched the entire show, and this is the first time in what I think several years. Like you could always count on it in the Golden Globes and in Hollywood, but a lot of award shows have really toned down making MAGAs feel bad about themselves or their decisions. because they've all been told like it actually affects ratings. But the go woke, go broke thing is not. It's a bit of a fallacy. And it was cool to see pop culture kind of, once again, find its collective balls and say, no, you're going to deal with this here. You're not going to have your soft comforts of me not having to tell you this is bad. You're going to have to hear that this is bad. And by comparison, it's going to make people like Jelly Roll, who have been living in this really awesome, how great is life? This is great. We can all get together. I don't actually have to have any opinion to speak into a microphone and show their ass a little bit. So I kind of like that society is forcing people's hands again. Like, nah, we play by your rules for a couple of years, making you feel better about things, and now people are dying in the streets. I like that the culture came back and met people.
Bad Bunny doesn't normally make political statements, does he?
He does.
He does. He's been known to make political statements, especially when it comes to LGBT, conversations and stuff. He had dressed as a woman in one of his songs, 5 or so years ago. So he's not one who's going to shy away from stuff like that. But just from the musical perspective, he won Album of the Year with a great album, and it's just cool to see somebody Hispanic be at the top of not only the Latin Grammys, obviously, but as the regular Grammys, where it's like, all right, we're here. Like, you have to pay attention to us now.
First time a Spanish language album has won Album of the Year. At the
How about
Grammys.
first time 2 pro wrestlers won Grammys?
That's right. Bad Bunny has won.
And Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll, that's right. He wrestled on SummerSlam.
Forgive me. I was of the impression that Bad Bunny makes political statements through the art, not speaking at a microphone.
The
while
opposite.
No,
the
he talks a lot about eating ass and taking photos. Caught that part.
Te vi tirar una foto de cuando te tuve.
But occasionally there's like a lyric about ass.
Let me hear what it is that he had to say while winning Album of the Year in a climate, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Florida, which has been aggressively bad about some of this stuff, Florida is now making it so that driver's license tests are only in English, not Spanish, not Creole, not anything, just aggressively unwelcome to people who don't speak English if they want to drive in this country. Can we hear the sound from Bad Bunny last night?
I'm going to say, eyes out. We're not savage, we're not animals, we're not aliens, we are humans, and we are Americans. The hate get more powerful with more hate. The only thing that is more powerful than hate is love. So, please, we need to be different. If we fight, we have to do it with love. We don't hate them. We love our people, we love our family, and that's the way to do it, with love. Don't forget that, please. Thank you.
I have always thought that it is very difficult in a second language to talk about some of this stuff because many people who are hearing that, whoever is on the other side of that, are just thinking he's an idiot because he's trying to speak a second language and he's not doing it with the fluency of his first language. It's much easier to learn a language before the age of 6 than it is to learn a language, the way the brain chemistry works on human beings than after the age of 6. So he's speaking in his second language, and I was just always of the impression that he didn't do things like that in English, at least in part because so often famous people who are speaking in their second language are afraid to sound stupid. I sound stupid sometimes speaking Spanish because it's my second language. I would not attack difficult subject matter in Spanish, wouldn't even come near it because I wouldn't be comfortable that I would express myself correctly in that language.
It's incredibly cool to see because a couple of years ago, Bad Bunny didn't have any English chops, right? Like, you would hear him on songs and maybe he had one word in English if he was featured on an English song, but he's come a long way in, being able to describe himself and speak eloquently and almost fluently to try and get like the main topics around. So it's a big piece of growth for him.
What are you guys expecting on Sunday, both in action from him, but reaction to him? Like what's going to happen?
People are going to freak out. People are going to freak out. Yeah, I mean, because every year we do this, right?
Really? I mean, but they got their own halftime show this year, right? So they're not going to be upset about Bad Bunny because they have choices. They got the Turning Point thing.
Who's the other thing?
What? Who's on the other one?
Yeah.
Jelly Roll.
For real?
People are going to freak out. Every year we do this, okay? And some people really enjoy the halftime show and some people really hate the halftime show. And this one is going to be the most polarizing of all of them because there's never been a lead up to a halftime show.
Most polarizing of all of them?
Yeah. What would you say has been the most polarizing halftime show?
Just during this climate with Kendrick Lamar, if we're choosing sides on everything, on every single thing, Kendrick Lamar rapping and an aggressively black halftime show that has to be run by Jay-Z because they're trying to diversify an NFL that is trying to recover from Colin Kaepernick, that one was pretty polarizing.
It was polarizing because of the the pop culture climate between Drake and between
right.
Kendrick
That
Lamar.
was the main
that
conversation.
That was more so than anything.
That was, right.
Than anything that was, this is aggressively black.
Right.
It's
Is he going to say pedophile?
It was aggressively Drake versus
That was
Kendrick.
the whole story.
100%.
Oh, my God, I can't believe he said A minor. Everyone was going crazy about it. That's not what the reaction of this is going to be. This is going to be a cultural, racial deal that the fallout is.
And to be fair, this is not the first time that Bad Bunny's performed at the Super Bowl because he was a guest on the Shakira J-Lo one from 2020, right? Where everybody was like, oh, wow, this is the most aggressively Latin, vibrating, different, halftime show. Bad Bunny was there. Now, this is him, 6 years later, basically. And at that point, I was telling you, he's the biggest artist on the planet. And all of a sudden now, again, not wrong, just early for me. Where was Taylor Swift last night? I didn't see her.
Tony does keep saying that. I was not wrong. I'm never wrong. I'm just early. Do you guys know the origins of how it is the halftime show became the seismic thing that it is? For those of you who do not know some of the details, the artists are not paid. They get a budget to perform, but the artists are not paid. The way they are paid is that sales always spike in an enormous way when America at large is introduced to an artist, no matter how popular, during the halftime show. But are you guys aware of the history? Because some of you, I don't know if Jeremy and Tony, if they are old enough to have remembered when In Living Color kind of stole the halftime audience one time on a competing network because during the halftime show of football, there was something that made people leave football and go to see Jim Carrey and what the Wayans brothers were doing on In Living Color, and that's the moment that changed, where the NFL was like, no, we can't have the audience leave during our football game because we have a commercial interruption. And now you have a concert that is going to be I don't know if it's as anticipated as the game, but I'm not joking that much when I say it's a Bad Bunny concert also featuring football, given that even though this is the most surprising Super Bowl there's ever been between the opponents, it doesn't seem to have the interest level that the pop culture phenomenon that is one of the biggest artists in the world performing in a way that Zaslow is saying it's going to be crazy. You guys don't seem to agree with that, though. Zaslow is saying something. Zaslow is saying that this is going to be the most polarizing show there's ever been because he's going to be speaking. I just told you, in Florida, the political climate has gotten so bad that any nationality that doesn't speak English is going to have trouble getting a driver's license because they've ceased allowing you to take the test in something that isn't English. If you thought you didn't understand Kendrick Lamar's lyrics in a very black halftime show last year, what are you going to do when you don't speak Spanish and Bad Bunny is making you dance anyway because he's using lyrics that don't have English in them?
But that's Zaz's point. It is the most polarizing halftime show of the entire, history of this because it's not in English.
And what happens when he comes out wearing a dress?
I don't know if he's going to do
happening.
that. Yeah, I don't think he's going to do that.
But it's also that was sort of talked down after it became an internet rumor. But the bigger part is not just like, oh no, pearl clutching over Spanish. It's they're literally sending ICE to the event. Like Donald Trump is going to make a political display of this, whether Bad Bunny does or not. And mind you, the pregame show performer is Green Day, and back in 2016 they were saying no Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA in chanting at award shows. It was the first true, like, hey, this guy's a fascist political statement made by an artist. That was a decade ago. So if you think they're going to start this thing quietly after Bad Bunny just said that at the Grammys in the lead up, because that was part of it with Kendrick too. He won Album of the Year, and then he was performing at the Super Bowl halftime show. So there was this week in between for everybody to get even more hyped up about what was going on. After Bad Bunny says that, if you don't think that the Trump administration is going to make a thing of this in a protest of the NFL, which they've already done before, that's really what's adding fuel to that fire.
The ticket prices are really high. I don't know if they're going to find anybody there that's going to be of Hispanic origin to afford those prices. Anyways.
Also, Bobby Kraft's like, come on, take it easy this once.
But also, this is Bad Bunny, the first time he's performing songs from this album in the United States, right? Like his entire
didn't he cancel his tour?
No, the tour was never canceled. It was just a residency in Puerto Rico to have everybody fly in to Puerto Rico. He's also doing a world tour that does not include the United States. So this is the first time that you'll be able to see and hear these songs in the United States, and that makes it, again, such a big deal.
Did you guys, speaking of football, have any opinion or care about the news that the Ravens have hired as a coordinator Declan Doyle, who is 29 years old, and they move away from Harbaugh and whatever it is that the stability of Harbaugh is? I learned last week with you guys that Harbaugh, like Chris Fowler, is 65 years old. I was stunned. Both of those people look much younger than 65 years old.
We are so old that people named Declan are being coaches, and like that was like, for me, Declan's like that new like 6-year-olds, 5-year-olds. Like the fact that there's a 29-year-old named Declan just makes me feel really old.
I felt a little weird over the weekend too, where I realized that every first-year NFL head coach that's forever now going to be hired, all of them younger than me. Like I'm always now going to be older than every first-year NFL.
Need another
head coach.
Pete Carroll in there.
You know.
I think the Dolphins just hired somebody older than you. I think Hafley is a year older than you. But getting back to Declan Doyle and the idea of what kind of young is too young, he's the same age as Lamar Jackson. The coordinator for the Ravens is the same age as Lamar Jackson. And at what point do you, as an audience, disqualify somebody with the ageism of that young person can't be such a savant that they are going to do something that is admittedly hard, right? The play calling, you've seen this year, you saw that the Lions' window closed because Dan Campbell can't do it, right? Didn't we arrive at, they missed Ben Johnson. Look at how the Bears took the division from the Lions. They took it from the division, in 1 year because Ben Johnson takes the play calling with him. What do you make of this movement that would allow a 29-year-old is damn close to savant, given the difficulties of what that job is?
It just feels like they're trying to get these guys younger and younger. You look at Sean McVay, who got a head coaching job at 30 years old, and now look where he is, a Super Bowl, almost made it to another Super Bowl. Like, he is one of those guys that are savant. You look at but this guy Declan Doyle, you're hoping to get one of these guys early so now he can be on your team for 5 years, 10 years, and then end up transitioning to be a head coach. Like, you got to get him young.
I mentioned this last week. Like, I've asked former players, they only care if you can get them ready for Sunday. They don't care about the guy's age. They don't care if he's played. They only care about the words coming out of his mouth and if they can get you ready for the game.
Just find the head coaching hire curious for Baltimore because they got out John Harbaugh and they replaced him with a Harbaugh guy, a guy that was on John Harbaugh's staff in Baltimore and then was with Jim in Michigan and with the LA Chargers. Like, they liked everything about John Harbaugh except for his dynamic with his quarterback. They're like, we just need to get you out of this building, but we like the way that you do things, so we're going to get the next John Harbaugh.
Can you guys walk me through the history of Declan Doyle, because I don't know how to separate the things that I'm about to say to you. Declan Doyle was already the coordinator of the Bears last year at 28 years old. But was he? Like, do we know enough to know whether that was Ben Johnson or Declan Doyle? Because I think most people are giving whatever credit you give to Caleb Williams. improvement. I don't think anyone's giving that to Declan Doyle. I think all people are looking at that because we don't know enough and saying that's Ben Johnson, not a Ben Johnson disciple that's making Caleb Williams look like that. And furthermore, I would say that, man, the Bears had some fluky stuff at the end of games that doesn't have much of anything to do with play calling. Like they had some wildly fluky stuff happen.
But again, the ball is oblong, Dan. Weird things happen in that game. All of a sudden, Caleb Williams is running 50 yards in the opposite direction and then throws a ball, and then all of a sudden it's Cole Kmet there at the end. Like, yeah, football is weird. Weird things happen.
Well, and to your point, I mean, Mike McDaniel was the offensive coordinator in San Francisco before coming here to Miami, but I don't believe he was the play caller. I'm not sure we could separate the difference between Mike McDaniel and the role that he was in as the whiz kid versus Declan Doyle. But all I know about Declan Doyle's age is I'm pretty sure he was a student assistant at Iowa while Lucy was still a student there, which shows you how young he really is.
The Dolphins did that with Joe Philbin, too. Joe Philbin was Aaron Rodgers' offensive coordinator. Yeah, but he didn't call any plays. Like McCarthy called the plays. It's the same thing.
It's not the same thing because Joe Philbin looks like he came from the age of pilgrims, and we're talking about a 29-year-old Declan. Like Joe Philbin.
You're right. I got to see what he looks like.
You do, right? At 29 years old.
I think you know what he looks like, though.
Look, at Le Batard Show, just put this on the poll. Do you trust a 29-year-old offensive coordinator? Yes or no? NFL, not college, not high school. Yes or no?
Lane Kiffin was 30 years old when Al Davis hired him as the Raiders coach, right? Like, and look where he is now, the biggest coach in college football.
Yeah, but he made a lot of mistakes in order to get there.
Come on,
yeah. Still can't be trusted.
That's a Lane thing, though, not an age thing, right?
All right, let's see Declan here. Yep, about what I thought he'd look like.
Looks like Lehman.
He looks like Ethan.
He does look like Ethan.
With a beard.
I would not trust Ethan with anything.
I think Ethan would be a hell of an offensive coordinator one day.
Never mind my offense. Look at poor broken Ethan in there. He doesn't like it. But I wouldn't trust you with my offense. No offense. Did you guys, I did not, much like with the Grammys where I don't, one of the ways I age out is that I don't know a great many of the artists. I'm also aging out on some pop culture stuff. So someone like Glenn Powell eludes me, his fame. I saw The Running Man here, a remake of a movie. I really liked the original Running Man. And Glenn Powell made a new Running Man that has $110 million. Well, it depends on what you want, right? Because it doesn't have a terrible Rotten Tomatoes rating. It's not like Melania. It's got a decent rating for what it is, which is just a big, dumb action movie. But the part that I was surprised by and didn't understand in any kind of way is Glenn Powell was bad in it. And Glenn Powell, I'm stunned that I'm saying what I'm about to say, was a worse actor in this than Arnold Schwarzenegger was in the original. And so the popularity of Glenn Powell as an actor eludes me, but I'm being introduced to him here. He's popular. Have any of you seen this movie? Have any of you seen The Running Man? None of you? Neither the original nor the other one?
File this one away. We're gonna want to request Glenn Powell, and then I can get mad at everyone when we don't book him. Don't react to me, just keep it moving.
Dan, to your point, I haven't seen the original Running Man, even though I've been told by multiple people said that I would very much like it.
It was a good movie.
I'm excited to watch the old one, not the new one. Glenn Powell's okay. It's fine.
I don't know if it'll hold up, right, for today.
No way.
Well, keep in mind, though, at the time, you're talking about a really unique concept where a game show of people playing for their life, this was 1987 or whenever it was a unique concept, and I doubt very much that it holds up. But in 2025, with the stuff that we're talking about, ICE and otherwise, there is a good movie to be made inside of the concept of The Running Man. It could have been a good movie. It should have been a good movie if you're updating it with a $110 million budget. it was very much not a good movie and not worth watching, and didn't even honor the original the way that I would have liked it honored, because I was hoping that if they're going to take an original idea and make it unoriginal by just simply remaking it, you would do it better.
Just a scathing takeout of Glenn Powell's Running Man from Dan right now. He hated this one.
Well, I had expectations for it. I liked the original. None of you guys, Zaz, you saw the original Running Man. You could speak. You could speak to the as our movie expert here.
I'm a great movie guy.
That I am sure Amin will have opinions on this when he joins us in the next hour. I am positive about that. The original Running Man, you would say was where would you give it on a Zaslow Rotten Tomato meter?
I mean, I haven't seen it in forever. I'm sure if I saw it now, it's not going to hold up. But I liked it when I saw it. I was a kid. Yeah, I liked it. What would you 1 through 10? 6.
That's not the way the Rotten Tomato meter works.
1 through 25.
It's
like, what are we doing
it's
here?
1 through 100 is the way that the Rotten Tomato meter works.
Can I tell you though, speaking of that Rotten Tomato meter, the Melania Rotten Tomato score is the funniest Rotten Tomato score I've ever seen. Dan, the media score gives it 10% on the left side, by the way. And the audience score,
He said it.
on the right side, by the way.
He said it.
99%. There's definitely, I would bet you, there's never been an 89% difference between media and audience score. 89%? The audience is telling you it's a perfect movie practically. 99%. 10% on the
Listen
other
to the
side.
people.
It's a funny score, man.
It is. Let's look up. Can you look up for me, please, the greatest percentage of difference that there has been between audience and media? Well, no, but this has been happening more and more in internet critique, right? Where all of these movies that have a political leaning end up getting supported so strongly by the people who have that political leaning that what you just pointed out has happened more in the last 5 years than has happened in the history of Rotten Tomatoes.
To be fair and respectful to Rotten Tomatoes, they've got a good thing going. But I'm kind of done with them, if you want me to be honest. Nobody has a good movie anymore. There's not one movie that's been made that's good. Everybody says every movie is garbage,
You're
right?
done with them now after the Melania thing?
No, that's fine. I don't care about that.
That's it. I'm done with these folks.
To be honest, I didn't even know if it came out. But more importantly, it's that every movie we talk about, Dan just took out Running Man. Like, what was the last good movie? Can anybody agree on a good movie?
Don't do that.
What was a good movie?
No.
What was a good movie?
That's
What was a
not
good movie?
right.
I saw
That's correct.
One battle after another was
Wait
good.
a minute.
Was it good? No, some people hate it.
No, we don't like that one.
No,
That was a bad movie.
I just saw this weekend.
Give me a good movie, Dan.
If I had legs, I'd kick you, and it was really good.
What a terrible take from
It's
Tony.
not a terrible
What's
take.
the last good movie?
Think about
I
it.
don't even know
Everybody
how-
complains about every
like,
movie.
Watch. I'm gonna try. Song Sung Blue.
Didn't hear it.
Yep. See, but not a good movie because you haven't.
I'm still trying to figure out what Hamnet is.
That is a bit of a triggering title.
That is stunning. That's a stunning take from Tony that we are no longer making good
According
movies.
to Rotten Tomatoes, no movie is ever good because if it's good, the critics like it, the audience hates it. If the audience loves it, the critics hate it. Figure it out.
Sinners on Rotten Tomatoes has a 97. Sinners does.
Not as good as Melania.
It has also, and it had 16 Oscar nominations.
How much they win?
Okay, well, it hasn't come. They haven't done the Oscars yet. It can't win the Oscars before the Oscars happen.
We don't find out the awards before the show, Tony. Do you understand how the Oscars work?
Don't worry about me.
Sucker.
I watched like 5 movies over the weekend. I got all sorts of takes. I saw the Anaconda movie.
Hold on just a second here. I got to get Tony out of here.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for verbal diarrhea.
What? Okay, talk about Anaconda with Jack Black. Good luck.
We will. I didn't like it. My biggest issue, not funny enough. It was pretty meta. They were trying to like do a movie behind a movie, a making of a movie, and like call out some of their script devices, but it just needed more laughs. Needed a little punch up on the comedy. There is one guy that essentially just plays Jon Voight's character and does a bad Jon Voight impression the entire time, and I enjoyed that, but I just wanted more hearty laughs.
Anaconda, difference between the media score and the audience score, only 27%.
Yeah, I would say the movie was just okay, but the thing that the comedy has working against it is it's not very funny.
How did you have time to watch 5 movies this weekend?
The temperature dipped below 40, so I just...
What else you watch?
Gummied up, watched the Royal Rumble, too. Got a breakdown of that. Saw Song Sung Blue. That. And I was told that there would be a twist. Woo! That movie did change quite a bit.
Do you guys have a Royal Rumble update? You ended last week by...
Yeah, it sucked, Dan.
A little disappointed,
It
Dan.
sucked. We were right to be worried about giving the second best pay-per-view over to Saudi Arabia.
Shouldn't have been over there.
It was not good. Bad vibes. The crowd, I couldn't tell if they were packed. Apparently, there was some sort of optical illusion.
Yeah, not good.
If I have to ask if there are people at this event, it's probably not a hot crowd.
I was distracted by the crowd the entire night, and not in a good way. Not good, Dan.
And Dan, we didn't get Chris Jericho. We were waiting for Chris Jericho's comeback, and then number 30 was Gunther, who had already retired AJ Styles, or at least retired him from WWE. More on
AJ
that
Styles'
in a
last match, man.
At least for WWE.
Yeah,
He didn't take his gloves off and put him in the ring.
And all the women, they have to be dressed head to toe, like they can't show skin because they're in Saudi Arabia. And I mean, come on.
The event just didn't have juice, Dan, and it was regrettable, to say the least. And if this is how we're starting the road to WrestleMania, I think TKO is botching it.
You guys don't do that very often. You guys don't come
All
down
too often
with...
now, I am. After they botched the John Cena thing, I'm like, all right, this product's just bad. It's gotta earn my respect.
I very rarely do that. That's not to say that I didn't enjoy the show. I did enjoy the show. I always enjoy the show. I enjoy wrestling. But I thought it was underwhelming. It was like, it wasn't that great.
How could you enjoy it if the women had to wear clothes?
What did you just do with I always enjoy it? It seems like you didn't.
Yeah,
You like said that
bad
you're like,
wrestling is so
you
good.
just
It's
have
like
to
pizza.
say I always enjoy it.
No, it's
but
like pizza.
I didn't
Mike's
like
right.
it.
No,
It's
Mike's
like
right.
pizza.
Mike's right.
It's like pizza.
Yeah, pizza's always good.
Yeah.
But there's certain pizza that's a lot better. And Royal Rumble's always good. But there are Royal Rumbles that
Pizza's not always good.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Hospital pizza is not good.
Right.
It's not
I'm with
good.
Dan on this.
Hospital pizza is never any good.
Unless you're hungry, and then they give you a hospital pizza, and you're like, all right, I guess this is fine.
I think you're wrong. I've never taken a bite out of pizza and said, I'm not going to finish this slice.
You think that hospital pizza is good?
Well, maybe I've never had hospital pizza,
No,
but
you're arguing
How
that
have you had so much hospital pizza? Like, you can't even eat pizza.
How have I had so much hospital pizza?
You taking in the time to order it at a hospital seems like a strange order for a dude that can barely eat anything.
like Tom
did
Brady.
you order an entire pie from the hospital?
No, you can't even get an entire pie from the hospital. It's just these crappy cardboard slices from the hospital. Did you not see how I inflated next to my brother's deathbed? You're really asking me why I would be at the hospital so much?
You got fat? I thought you.
Yeah, I thought you lost a lot of stress weight. Is that because of the hospital pizza or the tragic death?
But did you finish the slice?
Guys, listen up. Super Bowl 60 deserves a sports book built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60. When anything can happen in the biggest game of the year, DraftKings has your back with early exit. If a player goes down early in the first half, you can still get paid in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. New DraftKings customers bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code DAN. That's code DAN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.